Yeah, that's one of my favorite films. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. And the Mr. Smith we honor tonight is a lot like the Jefferson Smith you see in the film. Honest, upright, a good man who believes in the goodness of his fellow man. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's take a look at the life of this man we call Wilson Smith. Oh, by the way, this doctored-up picture shows him with the most hair he's had in his life. Wilson Smith was born August 1st, 1917 in Spartanburg, South Carolina. Life was difficult for young Wilson. His mother died when he was only 8, and Wilson and his brother Julian were raised mostly by his aunt. His long association with the grocery business began when he was 8, when he took a job delivering groceries in a little red wagon to customers' homes in the neighborhood. The grocery business was a good match for young Wilson, and he was later employed by Glenn Kepner in Kepner's supermarket. He still says to this day that it was Glenn who helped shape his work ethic and his concern for employees and customers. Almost 65 years ago, Wilson would meet his lovely wife, Eveline. It was a beautiful Sunday afternoon in Salisbury, and Wilson was visiting relatives when he suddenly noticed a beautiful young girl riding a shiny new bicycle down the street. It had to be love at first sight for the girl and the bicycle. He says he asked Eveline to marry him just so he could get the bicycle. But we suspect his intentions were somewhat loftier than that. After a rather short courting period, Wilson, who was then in the Air Force and stationed in Florida, proposed to his bride-to-be just before shipping out to Europe. She accepted and jumped on a train to Lakeland, Florida the very next day. Their vows were said before a justice of the peace, and young Wilson was so excited about their honeymoon, he went to a local newsstand and bought a stack of comic books so he would have something to do that evening. I'll say that again. He bought a stack of comic books so he would have something to do that evening. You know, that sounded even more strange the second time. Wilson became a highly decorated officer serving in France. Maybe you didn't know this, but he was one of the lucky soldiers who survived the D-Day invasion in Normandy in June of 1944. That fact alone makes us feel fortunate to have him with us tonight. An awful lot of really good men didn't come home from that one. He remained in the Air Force Reserve for 20 years and was promoted to major and commander of the local reserve unit in Salisbury.
Life could be a dream, life could be a dream.
After the war, he returned to Salisbury in the grocery business, working for his good friend Glenn Kepner. His early duties included painting signs for the store windows and displays. It's a talent that he still enjoys today. He still makes beautiful hand-lettered signs and banners to help celebrate birthdays, anniversaries, and other special occasions for his friends. You should know that one of Wilson's favorite mottos during his supermarket career was, "The impossible we do immediately. Miracles take a little longer." Well, Wilson Smith has always been a bit of a miracle himself. A kind, good, and decent man who has been a shining example of unselfish love to his family, his fellow man, and even to the animals he has loved so dearly through the years. Eveline once said that if a man loves animals, especially cats, he's a good man. And he is a good man. Wilson Smith, we're so glad you came to Salisbury.